Hello, everyone. My name is John Cortez Turner, and I'm here with an anime review for you. What am I reviewing today? Run One Half Season 1 on Blu-ray. Because, bit of backstory. I first fell in love with Run One Half way back when I was in middle school, and it took me well into high school to finish collecting all the manga. And around middle school, the same time I got into the manga, I started collecting the anime series. But my Run One Half Season 1 discs are scratched to hell and back, so I can't even watch them now. Which is why when the Blu-ray edition came out, I was like, I must buy this shit like no one else's business. So here it is, and I'm reviewing it. Not like the release itself, but like the content of the series. Anyways, plot. The plot of Run One Half is very convoluted and complicated, but the basics of it revolve around a teenage martial artist named Ranma who, after taking a trip to China with his father, is now cursed to change into a female version of himself when splashed with cold water. His father suffers a similar curse, being cursed to change into a panda when splashed with cold water, but that doesn't begin to get into the complicated shitstorm that is Ranma's life. Because Ranma is just so fucking good looking that he just seems to attract fiancés, like, out of the woodwork. Like, they're like ants, basically. Like, he'd be like the honey that just draws flies and shit to him. Like he has like 4 fiancés for his male form, and then his female form gets like an odd number of people that are like in love wanting to fuck him, which includes one of his classmates, and that gets really weird. And one of his classmates' deranged sisters loves his male form, but that's getting into weird. Yeah. Martial art comedy, hijinks ensue. Water is omnipresent in this universe, so there's no shortage of Ranma being in girl form at all, and it gets to be kind of a plot point in certain episodes. But the main fiance of the series I like to focus on is Akane Tendo, who is Ranma's like primary fiance. His father and her father decided that their children would marry and carry on their martial arts school. So Akane's father has 2 other daughters, but once they find out the circumstances of Ranma's curse, they're all like, "Oh no, I'm not having none of that shit. Hey Akane, you hate boys, right? Well, Ranma over here is half girl. So if you marry him, it'll kind of balance out because he's half girl, you're girl, but you hate boys. So the logic in there is kind of uh, Season 1 adapts roughly volumes 1 through 4 of the manga. This is the original English release of the manga, so it's flipped in the weird way that we Americans read our books. That's not here or there. It adapts the initial Furrington High arc where Ranma meets upperclassman Kuno and he falls in love with Ranma's female form. It adapts the battle with Ryoga and finding out about his curse. It adapts the martial arts and the gymnastics challenge and the martial arts figure skating challenge and the arc that introduces Ranma's second fiance, Shampoo. So, how does the series look? For an anime that was created in the early 90s, Run One Half holds up fairly well, especially on Blu-ray. It's been remastered, so it looks a lot better than it did on my shitty DVDs, but even rewatching those DVDs, the series actually still looks pretty damn well. All the colors are vibrant, all the characters are consistently on model, the animation. It's not like Studio Bones or Madhouse or anything where it's just like, oh my god, look at this animation, it's amazing. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's, it's good looking for an anime series of its time. And it holds up compared to other anime series of today where it looks really well. Especially the first season. The music is actually one of the better points of the series. I like a lot of the background music around One Half. Being a martial arts type series, a lot of the music is very actiony, very high energy, it kind of like gets you pumped up for like the next zany battle that's about to happen. Even though it does tend to reuse a lot of the tracks over and over and over again. The opening and ending themes, like any anime, are kind of deal breakers for me, but I love Run One Half's opening and ending music to hell and back. Uh, the first opening is the very Chinese theme, Jojo Mami ni Satanaide, which they translate in English as Don't Make Me a Shrew for some weird reason. And I'm not sure that's what the actual Japanese translation is, but what are you gonna do? Very upbeat, very catchy, very Chinese themed. And there are like a couple of puns scattered throughout the series, not the series, the song. The first closing is Platonic Serenuite, which is like Let's Be Platonic, and it's very much this kind of like love song-ish and like the same kind of like upbeat style the opening is. Uh, the problem with the first season, though, when it comes to the music, is that the first season of Run One Half in Japan was originally a standalone series that got canceled due to like low ratings. So one of the arcs from the first season that was supposed to be in the first season got taken out, and it was the first arc that it got adapted in the second season of the series, which is the martial arts figure skating battle with Mikado Sensei and Azusa Shiratori. Uh, the reason that arc didn't get animated is because there were a lot of thefts and murders going on in Japan at the time. So the animators were all like, "We can't do this shit." Uh, so the original first season is 18 episodes, but the second season, but with the 5 episodes included from the second season, it's 23 episodes. So like right in the middle of the series, uh, it switches to the second season opening, Little Date, as well as the second season ending, Don't Mind Lalai Boy. And it's kind of jarring because you're like thinking like, oh, it's gonna be like, the same opening consistently throughout the first season, but no, it just does curveball at you, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? Where'd this opening come from? And if you're new to Run One Half, like you're just starting out the anime, you're like, what the fuck just happened here? Especially more so because the last two episodes don't even have an opening song for them. They just skip right to like the second season, little like, here are the circumstances thus far of Ranma and Akane and their cursed relationship type thing. Uh, but overall, the music, either way, it's still like, okay. So if you don't like the first opening at all, once it hits the second season opening, you're kind of like, oh, okay, I like them a lot better. But it's only there for like 2, 3 episodes, so you're kind of like, what the fuck just happened? Uh, so, the dub and the Japanese audio, obviously. The Japanese audio is really good. One of the standouts of the series are Kape Yamaguchi and Megumi Hayashibara, who do Ranma's male and female form respectively. Fun fact, Kape Yamaguchi also does Inuyasha's Japanese voice, and Inuyasha and Ranma One Half are created by the same person. So, little fun fact there. Uh, the dub is it's pretty good. It's like the animation. It's not anything standout, awesome, knock your socks off, like awesome sauce. Oh my god, this is amazing dub. Like like I can't even think of like a really amazing English dub. Like Fullmetal Alchemist. Like it's no Fullmetal Alchemist dub or anything like that. But it's good. Another fun fact is that some of the voices from Run One Half and Inuyasha are like the entire cast of X-Men Evolution. So if you've seen X-Men Evolution, once you hear like Ranma's female voice, you're all like, is that Jean Grey? I think it is. It is you, isn't it, Jean Grey? Because they share the same voice actress. So that's it on the dub side of things. The positive aspect of the series. As a martial arts themed series, Run One Half is really good at just kind of pulling shit out of its ass that totally work within the confines of the universe. Like all the rivals that show up all have like their own different styles of martial arts, like there are different martial arts styles here in the real world. But they take it a step further in adapting like more mundane things, like figure skating and rhythmic gymnastics, which is an actual thing for those of you who don't know if it's an actual thing or not. It is a thing. And it turns those into martial arts as well. And the martial arts of the gymnastics battle with Kodachi Kuno is probably the highlight of the first season, as it shows just how creative the series can be when it really wants to be. The follow-up to it, the martial arts figure skating battle, is actually kind of a letdown because, when you're fighting with effectively swords strapped to your feet, you have like this kind of potential for similar to rhythm gymnastics, you have this potential for an endless array of possibilities of what can we do when adapting this sport into a martial art, and it kind of fails to really utilize that for that one particular arc. The rhythm gymnastics arc is probably it's not the best fight of the series, but it is the best of this first season. It is the best adaptation of the zany martial arts shit that happens in this universe, as well as massive property damage. The Run One Half characters are affectionately dubbed the Narima Wrecking Crew by a lot of the fans because not a day goes by where they just don't destroy something randomly in their pursuit of one person or the other, or their attempts to kill one person or the other. So the series can get really creative with its martial arts shit. The more subtler Ranma Akane relationship moments, because obviously, since it's an anime and romance is involved, we have to do something with that plot thread. Otherwise, the fans are just going to be out what the fuck are you doing? Where's that plot thread? You established your fiance. Why aren't you doing anything with it? They have to do something with it, and they do. And it actually comes in more of the early part of the anime than the later part, where Akane is just kind of a side character and doesn't actually really get to do much. Glaring flaws here. The character designs are also really good. It's Rumiko Takahashi at kind of her best, where a lot of the characters look kind of the same, but they're varied enough to where you're that's Ranma, that's Kuno, that's Ryoga, that's Kane, that's Nabiki, that's Kasumi, etc., etc. So it does really good with just making the characters look different from one another. Another fun fact about the series is female Ranma's hair color in the Japanese version of the manga was originally going to be black like the male forms, which gives a lot more credit to the whole they look like they could be twins kind of thing that they try to pull off in the anime, but really can't. But the anime decided to make female Ranma's hair color very subtly red, and that gets used, it gets buried up in the various color illustrations of the manga, but that was one of the deciding things about the anime is that it differentiated male Ranma from female Ranma. In the manga, I just briefly reread it before the review. Male and female Ranma actually look like the exact same person, just one is a boy and one is a girl. So it's the only thing that you can actually tell separates them is that there's boobs on one of them and not on the other one. So good job on the anime for that, although it once again it does kind of kill a lot of the characters know is she your twin sister? What the fuck is going on here? She has your same name, what the fuck is going on here? Type thing. Another thing that I really love about the anime is its translation of the manga into animated format. A lot of long-running anime, and Ranma's a 161 episode anime series, including OVAs, which makes it 100 and just shy of 170 episodes, I think. Or am I thinking of Inuyasha? It's one of the two. Nonetheless, Ranma's a pretty decent long-running anime series, and the first season very, very, very well translates just those little moments from the manga into the anime flawlessly. All of the movements, all of the the English dub is actually closer to the English version of the manga. So when I first watched the first season, I'm holy shit, they're saying exactly what they said in the manga. What's going on here? This is amazing. Type thing. So it's really fun on that level that it's just so similar. And it's one of those series that I think a lot of older anime fans are really going to enjoy, rewatching another time. or it's like something for people who are more into like classic anime than people who are like into newer anime. Because if you've seen like enough of the newer anime and then you look at Ranma, you're like, okay, I'm not really seeing much of anything different here, except it's all martial arts, gender bending themed, instead of like whatever the fuck you're watching regularly. Uh, so that there is that as a flaw in the series. Another flaw is, like I said, the weird melding of like the first season and the second season together. Like even though it flows really well, and I see why they did it, because in the arc with Shampoo, Akane like flashbacks to a moment in the martial arts figure skating match where Ranma very definitively says Akane is my fiance, like if you touch her I'm going to kill you, to the pair that they're fighting against. And that's plot important because Akane at this point is like wondering what the status of her relationship with Ranma is with this other woman there. And upon like watching the first season without that, it's kind of like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? Watching it now, it totally makes sense. You're like, oh, okay, with that in mind, yes, that is the thing that happened. Like, like this is something that like, translates really well. But just like the weird like splicing of like the opening scenes, I'm like, why couldn't you just like people do this all the time, like just use the first season opening with the second season, and just do that. Like you can't just cut that shit out. Oh well. So there's that. Another thing, another anime reviewer pointed out is the problem of Akane Tendo. Uh, Akane Tendo is like initially written as this very strong, very competent, not extremely level-headed, but this strong female character within the series, and she has like this slew of boys that just want to go after her, and one of the funnier things of the series is that all the boys at the school, they like gang up on Akane when she comes to school in the morning, try to best her in physical combat, because they're not allowed to date her if they don't beat her in a fight. So even though throughout the first half of the first season, Akane is like a very important character, as the series goes on, she becomes more of like a side supporting character. So Akane, even in stories where, something that she wants is at stake, she doesn't have too much agency in effectively getting what she wants. Like, the first example that comes to mind is the martial arts of the gymnastics battle, in that Kuno's sister Kodachi is basically ganging up and beating up on all the martial arts of the gymnastics members of the other schools. So Akane's classmates come to her, they're like, you're a martial artist, so you can enter the contest instead of us, and kick her ass, basically. Akane, being clumsy as I don't even know what, trips, and it's important to her because Ranma is the one at stake in this battle. Kodachi is like, basically, if I win, I get Ranma's dick. And if you win, then, I guess I'll surrender my claim to Ranma's dick. Because Ranma's Ranma, and his dick's, like, made of gold or whatever. When Akane, like, injures herself in battle, in training, her sisters are like, who are we going to find that can replace you and looks good in the leotard and knows what? Oh, wait, Ranma. You turn into a girl, don't you? So they very easily substitute Akane with Ranma. And while that does make sense, her substitution with Ranma in the martial arts figure skating battle makes even less sense. Because at this point, Ranma is injured to fucking back, and the male taking his place is Ryoga, who is at stake for this battle. Ryoga is under a curse that turns him into a small black piglet that Akane has claimed as her pet, and she's too dense to figure out that the black piglet and Ryoga are the same person. So she's all like, you can't take my Peach-on, and the other girl is all like, silly me, this little Charlotte is mine. I'm taking him, and if you want him back, we'll battle it out over figure skating, martial arts, what have you. But Ryoga very, very quickly puts an end to that shit after Ranma and Akane have a very, very touching moment. So Akane's agency in the story is very subject to, you're not as important as Ranma is, so let's get Rod with whatever sexy uniforms we can, shall we? And you can just sit on the sideline. Even in the last arc with Shampoo, when Shampoo is getting ready to kill Akane, Akane gets taken out like that. So, as good of a Mark Burst as Akane is, and even this is kind of true in universe, she just doesn't really compare to everyone else in the series, so it's almost understandable why they keep just kind of tossing her out and putting her on the sidelines instead of actually doing anything productive with her. So there's that. Another thing is the kind of weird sexist culture that the character of Shampoo comes from. Shampoo is this Chinese Amazon, and they have this very, very important law when it comes to outsiders defeating them, where if the outsider is a female, you have to kill them. And if the outsider that defeats you is a male, you have to marry them. So it's basically the society founded upon domestic abuse. That's not good. And this was written by a female, too. So it's not just some male fever dream fantasy of, like, putting women in their place and making them submissive to men in combat and everything. No, this is, like, a fully... Like, these were breasts that came up with this idea, oddly enough. So that might not... and the fact that makes it even worse is that Shampoo, upon being defeated by Ranma, seems to just out of nowhere fall completely in love with him. She's just kind of like, what the fuck just happened here? Like, how does this work? Like, they were given, like, no real interaction with each other. There's, like, nothing between them that would, like, warrant this affection. Like, at least when Kodachi falls in love with Ranma, it makes some sense. It's, like, a rescue romance where he, like, knocks her out the chaser. And she's like, oh my god, my jury, all girls school life would never prepare me for these feelings. And, like, what the fuck is going on here? I have to have this man. Whereas Shampoo is just like, okay, you defeat me, I'm your wife now. So there's that. Another thing I particularly don't quite like about the series is its overuse of the word pervert. Basically, Akane's biggest gripe with Ranma is that he has all the social grace of a spoon, and he is just very blunt and blatant with what he says and when he says it. And I guess she takes some issue that his female form is admittedly much better looking and much more developed in all the right ways than she is. So Akane's go-to insult with Ranma is, you're a pervert, you're a pervert, you're a pervert, you're a pervert, you're a pervert. And at 23 episodes in, you're kind of like, uh-huh, okay, Akane, come up with something better or new, please. So, and it's not like they're even, like, Ranma isn't even, like, a pervert in, like, the traditional, like, I'm trying to see you naked, I'm trying to steal your underwear, I'm trying to, like, rub your ass type way that a lot of other anime characters are perverts. He's just a pervert due to circumstance. The very first episode kind of makes that abundantly clear, where Akane walks on Ranma while he's bathing, and he's just recently turned back into a male at this point, and she very, very clearly looks down at his dick, and then leaves the room, and she's like, I'm going to kill the pervert in the tub. And then when Ron was like, what the fuck? Why are you calling me a pervert? She's like, you saw me naked. He's like, oh, no, bitch. You walked in on me. You saw me naked. That's how that shit went down. Not the other way around. And Akane's like, it's different when a girl sees a boy. I'm like, no, bitch. That plays the exact same way. You are the pervert in this case. Does anyone tell them how to fucking knock on a door? That's a big thing about these series, about these, like, harem series. No one knows how to fucking knock. Like, what the fuck is up with that shit? Like, you know, you're in a house with people of the opposite sex, like, you knock on the fucking door. Like, that's just how it works. And I'm ranting at this point. I'm sorry. But then we'd be depriving ourselves of that wacky Rumiko Takahashi comedy now, wouldn't we? Ooh, wacky hijinks because no one can knock on a door. Ooh. So there's that. But, you know, if you can look past that... Oh, and then there's another thing, because there are some people out there who really can't stand, like, older types of animation. Run One Half was made in the era where we were still kind of, like, hand-drawing our cartoons. You know, computers were there, but, you know, it was a mix of both. So, there are people out there who can't watch older anime because it just looks weird for some reason. Like, the animation style kind of puts them off or whatever. And if you've seen Inuyasha or any of the other Rurouni Kenshin series, they're kind of like, it's the same art style over and over and over and over again. So I can see it getting on someone because of that, not because of the inherent ugliness of the series itself. My final thoughts as who is this for and who isn't it for. Run One Half is an anime classic. Like, it's like Evangelion, Cowboy Bebop. Shit, what else is there? Inuyasha type of anime where, like, if you haven't seen it, you owe it to yourself to at least check it out. So it's more, I think it's more for fans who really like older classic anime, and then fans who like more newer, up-to-date anime. But then again, newer fans might really like Ranma because it kind of Run One Half is kind of like that series where it's like, so this is where that cliche comes from. Like Akane Tendo is like the basic tsundere character that a lot of anime fans are familiar with. She's overly violent. She kind of detests the male protagonist, and she's like hot-tempered with like this hair-trigger temper. But she can really be sweet and kind and gentle and everything, and she has really touching moments with Ranma. So it's like, so that's where that character came from, and was Ron One Half pretty much perfected the tsundere character. Ron One Half also somehow like pretty much perfected the whole harem shit that's been played to hell and back in anime since like the dawn of time. And it pretty much created the love dodecahedron trope on TV tropes, wherein every character is like in love with every other character. So it's hard to like recommend it to someone who's like I like only this kind of anime, because Run One Half is like a very special anime unto itself. At least as far as the first season goes. Seasons down the line kind of then kind of they kind of drop and then go back up in quality later on. But the first season, like as in like for Run One Half, you kind of owe it to yourself to at least watch the entirety of the first season just to kind of see what you're in for, because the rest of the series pretty much follows suit with how the first season goes. So if you like martial arts type focused series, check it out. If you like harem, love triangle, romantic type anime, check it out. If you like weird gender, Run One Half pretty much presented the gender bender trope too. So if you like that, definitely check it out. Because there's like nudity abounds in this shit. Like the titties just fly like center screen like at all times. So if you're one of those weird anime jerk off masturbation people, check it out too. Because you have your free porn like right there. If you like, the weird martial arts and crafts type thing where like anything and everything is a martial arts, check it out. And if you just like, a really good adaptation of a manga series, like page for page, word for word type adaptation and kind of expansion on it, check it out too. I'm John Cortez Turner, and this has been my review of Run One Half Season 1. Tune in next time where I review something else.